Hello friends, welcome to fresh new episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host SRV Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Bobby Baker. He's asking, are coding bootcamp worth it in 2021 or getting a degree? Bobby, coding bootcamps are good for quick upskilling or if you want quick developer level jobs in 3 to 6 months, then of course coding bootcamps are good, but that too outside India. In India, coding bootcamps are not that worth it because most of the companies they ask for some kind of degree related to information technology, be it BCA, be it MCA, be it BTech, in order to give you job. So that's the reason if you see even popular companies, they mention in their job description that you need BTech degree or a master's degree from any premier institute or from any institute. So yes, coding bootcamps are good, but they are good only for beginner level jobs and that too outside India. In India, most of the time degrees, of course, kind of you can say that they are given more preference rather than a candidate who has done coding bootcamp. Next question is from Nishant. He's asking, I am currently working as a tester. Can I migrate to the developer side as I am quite strong in technical as well as coding skills? Nishant, the best person to answer this question would be your immediate manager or your team lead. So if you really want to move to the development side, you should probably talk to your manager or your team lead that you are good in technical and coding skills, and rather than testing, you should be given tasks related to development or move to a development project. If you are asking this question with respect to changing job, then I would say that show me the proof. Show me that proof that you are good in technical skills or coding skills. And to show the proof, you must have created to some open source applications, or you should have a GitHub profile with some open source application created or supported, or you should have some content created, maybe a blog written in a particular technology or coding framework which you are saying that you are good at, or maybe a video created somewhere on the same technology. So basically you need to showcase the proof that you are good in your technical skills, because without proof it's simply said that who knows what you know and what you don't know. Everything on your resume should be kind of given or presented with a proof. The proof would be of course knowledge, because your regular resume will contain your testing job, so it will mention that you are doing testing job somewhere. So if you go for job change, people will again give you testing related job, they won't give you a developer job. For developer job, you have to showcase your development skills rather than your testing skills. So yes, of course you can migrate from testing to development, but again you have to build your skills. You will have to showcase your skills in the form of some open source application contribution or some open source application created all by yourself and all those things. So you should have some kind of proof that you are good technology wise, or you are really good in coding and technology. Because just saying that I am technically good in coding and like technical I have strong technical and coding skills won't suffice, because you are right now working as a tester. So if you are really so good in technical and coding skills, you would be working as a coder or developer rather than a tester. So the best option for you in order to move to development would be first build your development skills, showcase your skills in the resume, and then probably talk to your senior or go for a job change in the development field. Next question is from Eric Matthew. He's asking, what courses can help you build a stronger resume if you want to work as a freelance developer? Eric, courses doesn't help you in building good freelance resume, recommendation, experience, and a portfolio does. So using courses, you can just gain or learn the skill of developing anything in a particular technology. But in order to get a freelance job, what you need is a portfolio or experience that you have created something in that particular technology, or you are an expert in that technology. Apart from that, of course, recommendation will help. If you have already worked for someone, those recommendation will help. Courses are just kind of badge of honor, or you can say that basic requirement that okay, yes, you should have. It is good to have thing. So if you have done course in something, it's good to have. But if you have really created something in a particular framework, that would be given much more value rather than a course. So if you talk about simply, if you say that okay, I am good in Angular and I am looking for Angular job, so if you have created a single page application, open source single page application in Angular, which you have showcased on your profile portfolio, or you have GitHub repository showing that Angular application, then that would be given much more preference by the customers who are hiring an Angular developer, rather than someone who has done an Angular course from so and so institute. So better do the courses to upskill yourself or get skilled in a particular technology or framework, but don't do it for getting a freelance job. Do it for getting you upskilled. And while like learning in the course, create some open source application, create some contact, showcase your or build your portfolio of that particular technology, so that client could see those portfolio and come to you with freelance work. Next question is from Rick. He's asking, can you trust everything on GitHub not to be malicious? Rick, no, we can't trust everything on GitHub not to be malicious, but so is the case anywhere else any freeware or any free application is hosted. As it is being said in many documentaries or many places that if you think something is free for you, you are the product, or something related to that. The statement, I can't tell you the exact statement, but it says that whatever is free, you are basically the product of that free thing. Okay, not vice versa or something like that. So in the same way, you can't trust that everything which is available on GitHub is malicious, like not malicious. However, the way to identify is that most of the things on GitHub are basically open source. So if you know the technology, if you can understand the code, and if you can go through the code, you can identify the vulnerability and maliciousness in the code. So if you think that okay, this particular section of this application is malicious, probably you can remove that section and then build the application and use it the way you want to use it. So that benefit only GitHub gives you, or the places where open source applications are hosted. So if you download or use any open source application, this benefit you get, that you can go through the source code and find out if there is anything malicious or not. But if you just download an exe from anywhere, there is no guarantee that whether it is it is not malicious, or it is not a virus, or it is not a code which contains some malicious, or which has some worm or any kind of problematic things. So the best option to get secure things or safe things from GitHub is to go through the code of those things and understand that code and find out that whether they are really free from malicious code or not. Or another way is, of course, you have to go through the feedback and issues and star rating. So there are many mechanisms on GitHub to identify that whether this particular application or this particular code is safe or not. Next question is from Rajiv. He is asking, what kind of embedded database technologies can we use with Xamarin? Rajiv, whether we use Xamarin or any other mobile application development framework, the most popular embedded database used in mobile application is SQLite. The primary reason behind popularity of SQLite is that SQLite has very small footprint. It's basically a single file database system. So you can use SQLite with any mobile development framework, and that is the reason that SQLite is popular with Xamarin also. And as I said, that SQLite is also embedded database. It's a small single file database which can be embedded in your Xamarin application very easily. So the most popular choice for database development or to store offline data in Xamarin application or in any mobile application is SQLite. However, SQLite is an RDBMS or a relational database. So if you don't want to save data in a tabular format or relational format, then probably you can use some non-relational database or NoSQL databases like RelimDB, which is basically an object database, or you can use CouchDB Lite, which is again a NoSQL database, lighter version of CouchDB, which can be embedded into a Xamarin application. So the brief answer to your question is that the most popular embedded database technology to be used with Xamarin is SQLite. However, if you don't want to use SQLite or RDBMS, then of course you can go with NoSQL solutions like RelimDB or CouchDB. Next question is from Piyush Kumar Tiwari. He's asking, how do I find open source project for front-end beginners to contribute on GitHub? Piyush, I have mentioned this in many of my videos as well as my answers that the best way to identify open source application in any technology is to just search for awesome plus that technology on Google. So let's say if you want to search for applications in .NET, you will just search for awesome plus .NET on Google or any search engine. Even you can do it on Bing also, and everywhere you will get the resource. The very first resource you will get would be a curated list of a GitHub project where all the awesome projects of that particular technology is listed. So let's say you want to search for awesome .NET, if you want to contribute to .NET framework, or you are talking about front end. So let's say you want to contribute to Blazor. So Blazor is of course a front end technology, or Angular, so or React. So you can just write awesome plus Blazor on Google, and when you hit enter, you will get the first result will be awesome Blazor curated list by I think some person is there who has created this awesome Blazor list. So you can go to that list. The list of awesome awesome plus technology contain everything you want to know about a particular technologies. It contains courses, it contains free books, it contains open source application. So from there you can very easily decide that which open source application you want to contribute. Maybe go with someone which has most number of stars, and as a beginner, if you think that it is overwhelming for you to contribute to a stable project as a beginner, maybe you should go with best first solutions or best first problems or documentation. So contribute to the documentation of a open source application, and once you contribute to the documentation, you will understand that okay, how this open source application works, and then probably you can contribute to the framework itself in future. So to answer your question, just search for awesome plus the technology, front-end technology in which you want to work on or contribute on Google, and you will get the list of all the open source application in which you can contribute in that particular technology. So these were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you want your questions to be answered in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM your questions with hashtag Techie Tuesdays on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care. Bye bye.